Hey everybody, MG here. Welcome back to the Penthouse. It's Sunstrike is here. So, you know, new set is it. The new set is here. We got a bunch of events coming up for the rest of this month, and I took place in the first actual event for Sunstrike, the P&M. Even though it wasn't like a lot of people, I ended up getting first place with this Fire Discard Sulfury list. Or as MBT put it, drag and drop. I'm not sure which one I like more, but I've been getting a bunch of questions about the deck, and so I was like, you know what, let's make a new deck profile for it. Brand new set. A lot of people are interested. It's dragons, and it's partially why I played it, because like before I was never really the biggest Fire fan, but how I get into card games is if it's got a dragon deck, right? With this, it was Pantera before. That's like where I started, and then I was really interested to seeing how this deck would work, and it has been working pretty well. I've been tinkering it since around Worlds, post Worlds, and I'm glad it did well, and we'll go into it. So we'll start with the old Fire Discard stuff, and then we'll talk about the new stuff. So right now we've got 3 Comagma, 2 Helmelt, and 2 Smeltongue. So this is what Fire Discard was kind of known as before. It was just kind of these 3 cards kind of synergizing together, because Comagma can act as the starter for the deck just by discarding a card. And it gets, it's draw power. It allows you to actually do what the deck functions. So like you can discard these cards in order to get their effects. For Helmelt, it's you can discard it and then you can special cast it using a Fire from the Underworld. And Smeltongue, you get to enchant 2 from the Underworld to the board, which is funny because it synergizes with Comagma, because you can always do Comagma, you draw 1, you discard Smeltongue, and then you do Smeltongue effect to enchant 1 or 2 to the Comagma, and then you get to draw again and then discard another card. So if you have like a Helmelt and a Smeltongue, or like a Smeltongue, or excuse me, Smeltongue and one of the other, so one in the Sulfury line, you could get that online. Really good card. Just being a 4 is also really nice as a starter. I'll kind of talk about these a little bit, because these help you get into Sulfury, because with Helmelt, you get to have an extra body on board, because you need 2 spirits on board in order to ascend to Sulfury, and same thing with Smeltongue. Smeltongue helps you re-enchant the board, and end up getting enough spirits for the Sulfury, which we'll go into right now. So we've got, covering the Sulfury line, we've got 2 Sulfury, 3 Brimscale, and then 3 Noxkid. This line is really good. I like it a lot. One thing I would say personally is like, so let's talk about the line. Let's talk about piece by piece. I think Brimscale is the highlight of the engine, mostly because you can just kind of discard it off of Comagma or whatever else is in the deck, like even Noxkid as well, and get to special ascend it, and then you get to put a Sulfury in the Underworld, which is pretty important that you have at least 1 Sulfury in the Underworld, so you can try to get it back through one of the invokes, or even Noxkid, which can act as a nice mid-game piece, because you're gonna have different fire cards and can even get back a thunder card. But you're gonna have cards in your Underworld that you can grab back with it, and it gets to actually do its effect, because you need something in the Underworld in order to discard something from your hand. But yeah, it's a 4/4. It's not too bad. It's obviously one of the ways you can get into Sulfury, because you can, say you have Helmelt, like we were talking about before. If you have Helmelt plus Noxkid in your hand, you have the Sulfury in the Underworld, you can go normal cast Noxkid, discard the Helmelt, and then grab back Sulfury. And so the Helmelt will special cast itself, and then you could ascend or repulse into Sulfury. And then talking about Sulfury itself, it's probably one of the more fairer 3-drops to come out of Sunstrike. I know everyone's worried about the moth, the big moth problem in the room, but I like dragons, so like I was like, this is fine. But generally, it's really easy to get into circulation because there's like 50 million ways to either you can discard it off of one of the cards I mentioned before, like a Magma or Noxkid, or you're searching with Brimskill to put an engrave. And the pop effect can, like on cast, you get the pop effect more than you think, because you can kind of engineer it in a way. Because we'll talk about it later. One of the invokes, you can return a fire card back to your hand that can pop a card. Noxkid is another card that can just grab back a fire card and then trigger Sulfury. So you're getting a lot of pops. It's pretty strong generally. I think I got it out at least once every set. So yeah. And then some of the pieces that are just like some of the glue that is keeping the deck together. We've got triple Rabbit and then triple new Hydrake. So Ash Rabbit. Ash Rabbit's an interesting inclusion. It just helps you find different pieces that you're missing. So like if you need back row, you can always grab it off a Rabbit. Or if you're missing like part of the Sulfury combo, where it's like Fumarole, which we'll talk about a little bit, one of the Sulfury line, or even just like a Smell Tongue, so you can properly discard, or like you have a good discard target for the next turn you have, like a Magma or whatever. I like it a lot. You can also just ascend into Brimskill, just like you have Ash Rabbit on board, and then you're able to just wait a turn, and then you get into Brimskill without having to discard it and like take more actions, I suppose. And then the real MVP of the deck is Hydrake. Hydrake's super nice because it is able to just search any part of the Sulfury line that you're missing and add to hand. You could also do the funny thing, I didn't clock this in until I was actually doing games in the PNM, where it's like, oh, I can just go Hydrake and then search another Hydrake. And so, I have a guy on board, I have follow-up in hand, and I could just search another part. I could search like an actually needed part of the combo later. But overall, I really like this. I think it's kind of integral to the deck, just being able to have a tutor that can end up getting the thing you need in order to actually, play the game effectively, and actually get to do the goal of the deck, which is, play Sulfury and pop a bunch of cards. But yeah, that's the Leshel count. Let's move on to invokes and the runes in general. We've got triple Fumarole, we've got Up in Flames, and Eruption. So I'll just get it out of the way. So Eruption's stupid. So it's a really good card because a lot of decks nowadays are going low, and so you can just kind of not cheese a win per se, but you can just strike them when they're not expecting it. It also synergizes with Noxkid because Noxkid gets any fire card back, so it's an enabler for that effect. So you can just go Eruption, you go Noxkid normal cast, discard whatever, get back Eruption, and then you get to either play it again or do whatever with it. But yeah, very 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 questionable card, but really good in this deck. Yeah, triple Up in Flames. I love this gem frame, by the way. Up in Flames is just kind of Earthquake in a lot of cases, because there is a lot of scenarios where you'll have Sulfury in hand, or even Smell Tongue, or even Brimskill as well, where they're gonna be, you want to get them into the underworld, but you don't have a decent way of getting them there without taking a normal action, and then this can kind of circumvent that by also acting as removal piece for 3-drops and whatever you have in hand. So it's pretty good. I didn't think we'd get to a point where Up in Flames is super good, because it was kind of okay in live stream, but now it's really really good in this deck. And then Fumarole is another piece that kind of brings everything together, because because of how it is, either you can target a Fire Dragon or just a Fire Celestial. If you target a Fire Celestial, then you expend a fire, and either way, you're adding it back to hand. So this is another way to trigger Sulfury. It's a way to, it's a way to actually enable Sulfury in the first place. It's really versatile because obviously the normal targets are like the Sulfury line, but you can always add back like a Comagma or even like a Smeltongue if you really want to. Especially with Smeltongue, because you can just put the spirits back that were used for the funeral back onto the board. But I like it a lot. It's pretty integral to getting the combo off. I always like holding one for late game, because if I can get Sulfury, then I don't even have to use a normal action to get a card back in my hand and then blow something up. But that's the invokes no Ambrosias, because Helmelt, Smeltongue end up putting spirits back on board really efficiently, and you can manage pretty well without them. We've got our Arcana Rune lineup. We've got 12 this time. We've got triple Gorgon's Gaze, triple Eruption, 2 Panda Box, 2 Tsunami, and Patroclus's Dice. So Gorgon's Gaze, I don't need to tell you that. One of the best counter runes in the game, yada yada. Tried it before. We'll talk about Eruption. I think Eruption is really good if you're not playing into another fire deck, because generally, let's just say for Moth or like even Foxicell, which a lot of people are looking at, it does pretty well into both of those because it's chainable. So, okay, well let's talk about the effect first. So, obviously you can enchant one to your board and then enchant a fire to your opponent's board, and then at end phase you can pop a non-fire card that is enchanted with fire. So it does 2 things. It is obviously removal for either divines or like big 3-drops left unattended. So like it does pretty good into Moth. It does pretty decently into Foxicell, and it can also just blow up divines. So like Aeolus, Apollo, Ares, Hermes, you name it. It also, again, obviously enchants your board, so it can act as a way to either re-trigger Comagma. It can add a fire to your board, so that means you can special send the Sulfury over one guy instead of needing 2. It's overall just a really, really good card. Obviously it does nothing into the Fire Mirror, but it's just a card you can just like swap out for like anything else in the side deck. We'll talk about that. 3P box or 2P box. I think it is a little bit more important to have the Eruption over the P box, but depending on how popular this deck is, you might want to take out a Eruption or like swap an Eruption with a P box or like one of these other ones. But Pandora's Box, pretty important for this meta because there's going to be a lot of searching happening, whether you're talking about Aeolus just in general, or you're talking about, every like big 3-drop combo deck has, that one choke point where they're like, oh, I need to search a card off of this. And this is kind of what those are for. This is for. I've got double Tsunami. Water, not a lot of people are talking about water. And with like Moth, Foxicell at like the helm of like discussions, Tsunami just being in the deck in main is pretty nice. It's chainable, so it's like you get to, if like you go P-Gust or try to pop it, you can always just, hit them with Tsunami. Protect your board, so it allows you to get into Sulfury or like develop stuff. And Dice is one of the coolest cards in this deck for a multitude of reasons. So a lot of stuff going on. We'll break it down. So at minimum, it's a battle trick, right? So it gets +2/+2. It's nice for breakpoints, right? So there's a lot of 4s, making them 6s is really nice. With Brim Scale, like for mid-game, like Brim Scale 6 into 8 is really nice for like a lot of breakpoints. And it also acts as a way to, you know, you get to put stuff back. So you get to shuffle back another Dorgans or any of these other cards. But most importantly, it can be a discard outlet. So like a free discard card. So let's say you had Eruption in Grave and you have Comagma, right? You can go Comagma, draw one, you can discard dice, you can shuffle back the Eruption, and then you get dice back into your hand. So now you can play it, you can discard it for like Comagma or Nox Kid, or what have you, right? So it's really versatile in this deck specifically. Like any deck that can like either put it in Grave a lot or just like you want to discard it can take advantage of it pretty well. I don't think I really ended up using the Battle Trick that much. I used it one time when I was against Kryber to force him into swinging or crashing with Twindra, and then he had like one spirit left and I eruptioned him. But yeah, that's the counter lineup. And then we'll talk about the spirits. We've got a lot of fire, so 3, 9, 12. We've got 13 fire, 4 thunder, 2 wind, and a water. So water's for the tsunami. I think you'll only need 2 wind for the Hydrakes. The thunder count is really interesting. So because I'm running Ash Rabbit, I at least want one of these for the Ash Rabbit, possibly 2, but usually like 3 are kind of needed for like Brimscale or Sulfury, because you're gonna end up getting into, you want to at least have a Thunder left over by the end of the game so you can get the Sulfury and actually get the top effect. But you're going to be going into Brimscale a lot. You might even get you might get into 2 Sulfury in a game. So having a decent amount of Thunder is like pretty important for the deck. And then, you know, you need fire. So having 13 is like really nice. I don't think you probably should go like 5 Thunder and then 12 fire, like, because you run through fire a lot. Because, you know, there's a lot of expensive stuff. You know, you're not always going to have Smeltung or Helmelt to get back the spirits in the underworld. So that is that. I'll cover the side deck I've made for the deck for the PNM. It's kind of up for changes, but I'll kind of just talk about some options going into the next meta. We've got 2 shield, 2 Catabasis, 2 Dense Fog, 2 Chains. We've got 1 Resting, 1 P-Box, 1 Tsunami, double Spoiled Fruit, and then 2 Lunars. So obviously the Lunars are for Dense Fog and Catabasis. Dense Fog is questionable. I haven't really needed to cite it in, but there are some decks where it's like you want to go first, and like you want to just make sure they do not get to do their game plan at all. So, like, for example, Thunderstorm, which I don't know how many people are going to be playing the Thunderstorm deck come Sunstrike, but that is one of those cases where it's like you want to stop them from getting into Bronco Glow, and you want to stop them from getting into Like a Void, so you're going to be citing this in to try to stop that. Catabasis is really good. It is one of my favorite cards of this new set. Mostly because it's just something we've kind of been asking for a while, just like Graveyard Interruption. So like it helps against Morphrost, it helps against Blistrix, and it helps against some of the stronger decks in the format, which it's also a good mirror match tech. So for Hermes, right, you can always side in Catabasis to kind of disrupt their trickery plays, and so we force them either to not trickery into anything or trickery into the thing they didn't want. And also helps get rid of Morphrost where it's like it gets rid of more Frost and Grave, so like if they try to key in back Lycan, you can shuffle back stuff. And then you get to draw a card, which is also really nice. Shield is always for like rogue decks or like battle heavy decks. Chains is another one of those cards where it's like you can side it in over Eruption and then kind of make plays with it. Like I kind of said before, this deck kind of loses to Catabasis. If you can find Catabasis versus this deck, it's really strong. But Chains of Prometheus kind of helps mitigate that, while also allowing you to, you know, continue Sulfury stuff. I think it's pretty strong. I have to mess around with it more, but you know, extra P-Box, extra Tsunami, and then resting if you're going second. Soul Fruit was kind of just like a fill-in. I'm not sure what they would be in the future, but overall it was like okay. I don't think I saw it too much, but I think in theory it could like come up for some decks. But again, I'm not sure what it would be in the future, so you know, take some creative liberties with that. But that is the deck profile. I'm super happy how the deck has been, you know, transformed over these last few months. Like, I didn't end up using Hydrate for the first bit, and then I kind of looked at it more and I was like, this is really nice, and it kind of works for the deck in a lot of ways. But yeah, if there's anything I would change, it would probably be, I only have 2 Sulfury, so when I get a third, I might try to mess around with a third copy, replacing something else. But the main packages felt pretty good. I wouldn't really want to change those. You could also probably change this counter-rune lineup a little bit better, but it kind of depends on how popular this deck is, or like, you know, what the numbers are going to be for Card Party, and also the first webcam premiere at the end of the month. But yeah, that's my profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stick around. We've got cool decks coming up for Sunstrike, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe so you can follow us for more Sunstrike content and deck lists. And yeah, have a good one.